Hey guys, finalKenpachi here. Welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. In this video, we are going to take a look new upcoming free new clan boss reward mythical champion, guys. He's from Night Revenant Force Affinity. His first form is the support and the second form is the HP based, but his damage on the second form scale of his HP and the accuracy. That's very important. And he have a new debuff called the Necrosis. We are gonna check all of them soon, but first, if you guys love my content, please consider to hit the sub button, guys, and if you love in the video, please consider to hit the like button. Appreciate for that. Let's jump to the skills now. First form is the support and his A1 attack all enemy. Destroy each target max HP by 3% and stack up to 30%. Already very strong A1 skill, guys. Stack up to 30%, destroy max HP and it's attack all enemy. Each time basically he used this skill, which is counter attack, gonna be triggered that as well. He's gonna destroy the enemy max HP by 3%. Also increase the duration of the one random debuff on the all enemies by one turn. This effect cannot be resisted if enemies have any necrosis stack. So before we move into the rest of these skill kits, maybe let me explain you guys what is necrosis means. It's quite a long explanation about this new debuff, so that's why I'm gonna put this over there. You guys can also see that. Basically, guys, necrosis is a new debuff. Only this champion can cast it at the moment. When the enemy champion dies, a single necrosis stack will place it all other alive enemies. When the another champion dies, an additional necrosis stack will be placed all other alive enemies. So basically, if you manage to kill somebody on your enemies, rest of the enemies who survive are going to get a necrosis stack, guys. Okay, each necrosis stack deal damage equal to 5% of champion max HP at the beginning of their turn. For example, if the champion has 3 necrosis stack, damage equal to 15% of their max HP will be dealt to them at the beginning of their turn, guys. So it's like a poison also 5% for the each your max HP is actually, but looks like on this scenario 5% of this champion max HP from what I understand, and his second form is HP based, so you're probably going to build him high HP. Another thing is, you know, like let's say enemy were like 5 turn poison debuff and they got a turn, only they are gonna take a damage from the one poison, right? Because only one of them gonna be triggered. But looks like if you have a more necrosis stack on them, when they got a turn, all of them going to proc at the same time, guys. Okay, so if the enemy is a 3, they are gonna take a damage by 15%. If the enemy have a 4 turn duration, then they are gonna get a 20% damage instead. Necrosis stack do not decrease upon the activation begin of the champion turn, and the necrosis is placed and champion in respective of the number of the debuff that correctly on them. So what does that basically mean? When they got a turn, their duration of the necrosis is not going to be decreased. And at the same time, from what I understand, there's a limit for the debuff we can cast on the enemy and the buff we can cast ourselves. So basically 10, guys. So it looks like necrosis is the special debuff, can bypass the debuff limit. So if the enemy has a 10 debuff, necrosis is still going to be land on them, looks like it. Damage dealt by the necrosis cannot be increased by the other effect, and the placement on the stone skin buff will remove the necrosis. So looks like the only way to remove the necrosis at the moment is to place a stone skin on your champion, which is, there is only one champion can place a stone skin, if I'm not mistaken, which is the R-based mythical champion from the Sylvan Watcher. If there are any dead enemies champion in the battle after a stone skin buff expire, necrosis stack equal to number of the dead enemies will be reapplied. So basically when the stone skin is gone, you are going to get a necrosis. And the last, when the dead enemy champion is revived, a single necrosis stack is the removed from the alive enemies. So basically, if you want to get rid of your necrosis, you need to revive your champion, and it's only going to reduce 1 turn duration. If the multiple champion are revived, necrosis stacks will remove the equal of the number of the champion is revived. So AoE revive basically better on this scenario than the single target revive. Again, guys, I'm gonna put this necrosis above my head so you guys can turn and check whenever you need it. Let's continue reading his A2 skill. Place a True Fear debuff on all enemies by 1 turn and the 50% decrease attack debuff on the all enemies for 2 turn. This effect cannot be resisted if the enemy have any necrosis stake. Then give him extra turn. This skill going to be 4 turn, but because he's getting extra turn, basically 3 turn cooldown. His A3 skill, another attack all enemies. Remove any stone skin buff and replace them by True Fear debuff. Block debuff buff will be replaced by the block buff debuff. Interesting. Also remove any buff positively affected the stat and replace them by their mirror debuff equivalently. So basically this is the Amuse ability, guys. So if you have an increased attack, Amuse gonna replace them by the decreased attack. If you have a continuous heal and the strength, they are gonna replace with the heal reduction and the weaken. If you have a, they didn't mention here, but basically if you have a like increased speed buff, he's gonna replace it by the decreased speed debuff. Very simple. Then there's still 5% of the each target turn meter for the each buff converted into the debuff by this skill. Also decrease the turn meter of the all enemies further by 20%. This effect cannot be resisted if the enemy have any necrosis stake. This skill also 4 turn cooldown, guys, but because he's gonna steal some turn meter and reduce enemy turn meter at the same time, you should be okay with that. And obviously because he's a mythical champion, they have a ignore resistance part on their skill after you book them, 20%. So this skill is very strong actually, guys. But in the current meta of the arena, obviously there is a ship. Maybe we have to build him on the pinpoint set, can definitely work. Actually, pinpoint set can definitely work because it doesn't really need to deal damage, right? Especially on the first form. Like necrosis is going to like literally kill the enemy slowly, you know, and the painful way. I can I can feel that. So maybe the way to build him pinpoint set. But I also see this some message on the content creator chat and looks like they said maybe when the people get this champion, obviously it's gonna take some time because we need to collect his fragment from the new Columbus, meta will be changed. If you guys wanna be copium about that, go for it. I won't, but keep that on your mind, guys. Okay, just saying. And they, of course, he's a metamorph skill, grant extra turn and switch to the next form, which is we are going to talk about that soon. And the passive skill, mythical champion passive, very important. Whenever an enemy is killed, place 1 necrosis stack on the all other enemies. Necrosis stack cannot be resisted or the blocked. Necrosis stack can only be removed reviving dead allies. This effect does not work against the bosses and their minion, alright? If there's a multiple champion on the team with this skill, this effect only activate once. At the start and the end of the champion turn, instantly activate any necrosis stake on the all enemies, and his aura is 35%. Guys, I don't know about you, but just talking about the first one right now, it's looking extremely strong. Like I actually like this champion a lot at the moment. But now let's take a look at his second form, then we can talk about his in overall. Like I mentioned earlier, his second form, HP based and damage scale of the HP and the accuracy, guys, alright? His first attack 1 enemy instead of the attack all enemies from the first form. Place an extra hit if the target has any necrosis stake. Also place a block revive debuff if this attack kills an enemy. So basically, if you manage to kill somebody on the enemies from your A1 skill, boom, block revive. A2, attack all enemy this time. Deals double damage enemies whose accuracy is lower than this champion. Accuracy, ignore 50% of the each enemy's defense whose accuracy equal or the higher than this champion. Accuracy. That's a little bit weird in my opinion, because I mean, I don't know is which one going to deal more damage, double damage or the ignore defense. Probably ignore defense, right guys? Ignore 50% ignore defense noticeable actually. So the champion who have a higher accuracy than him probably just squishy champion already, right? Nobody gonna build their duchess with the 800 accuracy. So this kind of weird because he's going to deal double damage. The champion who is accuracy lower than this champion, pretty much the support champion, right? And he's going to be ignore defense of the champion who is accuracy higher than him, like champion like Yumeko, champion like Warlord, Armans, I don't know, like name it, like just normal accuracy champion. It's a little bit weird. I feel like they need to be switched that. I think that would be better. Still looking a very promising skill. Obviously hard to judge without seeing his multiplier. But again guys, HP and the accuracy based damage we are talking about here. And the A3 skill, swap HP with the enemy. If the target is the boss, fully restore this champion, destroy max HP and then fully heal this champion instead. Alright. Each time this skill used, increase this champion ignore defense effect by 10%, while in the alternate form stack up to 50%. Then the grants extra turn. This skill has 4 turn cooldown, but because he's getting extra turn guys, you can call the 3 turn cooldown. Actually looking interesting skill. Obviously it's not damage dealing skill, right? It's just buff by your ignore defense effect, which is for your A2 skill, which is A2 skill has a condition, depends of the accuracy, right? So it's kind of weird skill, not going to lie. But extra turn, I always love extra turn abilities, so I'll take it. Metamorph skill again if you want to switch the base form. And the passive skill guys. Passive skill have a 5 turn cooldown on the active effect, but the passive effect doesn't have a cooldown. Let's read the passive skill first. When the champion dies, reflect the damage equal to 50% of the fatal hit back to the attacker, included any surplus damage. Oof. Oof. Whenever an enemy is killed, place a 1 necrosis stack on all other enemies. Necrosis stack cannot be resisted or blocked. Necrosis stack can only be removed by reviving dead allies. This effect does not apply against the bosses and their minion. The second part is pretty much the same passive skill on the first form. But this is very good guys. Included any surplus damage. So if you die from the like sick front surplus damage or stuff like that, Wukong, it's going to be reflect them, which is huge damage we are talking about it. Active effect. If this champion about to get killed by the fatal hit, prevents that hit and instantly activate the revive on death buff on them by 1 turn before the damage is taken. So basically, you have to try to kill him twice, guys. He's not gonna die from your first attempt, but looks like a multi-attack skill is going to be work. He's not getting block damage, so multi-attack can be work, guys. But because he's going to get a revive on that, he will be come back again to life. Just in case, let you guys know. And the second form also the same aura, guys, 35%. HP aura on the all battle. And there we go. So what's my thoughts about him? I personally love his first form, guys. I think the way of the build in pinpoint set, high accuracy, high HP, maybe crit cap if you can do that. And if you need it, probably necrosis stack going to be enough. But if you're talking about live arena, if you are gonna build him like the way I say it, I mean pinpoint set, high accuracy, no DPS, then you will need to bring like there is a 2 more DPS, so in case the enemy ban one of your DPS. Or you can build him pinpoint set again probably, because he have a high chance to get a ship, guys. Like every ability he have is screaming ship, especially on the first one. Pinpoint set again, guys, maybe 4 piece, and maybe 4 piece savage as well, or the little, depends your gear. And the crit cap about him, give as much accuracy you can, and the high HP, and of course high speed, because of the second form is the HP and the accuracy, right? You need to be have a high accuracy as well. So second form, if you are going to switch, which is you are, this is why we are using mythical champion, right? This is the reason why mythical champion are super strong, because you can switch their form, especially if the enemy team is a lockout. You cannot lock out your metamorph skill, so we can manage to use them. And having high HP and accuracy going to give you benefit on the both of the form actually. Both second form for the more damage. On the first form, it's going to help you to land your debuff on them, and going to help you to survivability. High HP, not hurt, So let me know what you guys thinking about this new free clan boss reward, new clan boss reward, Chimera reward, mythical champion. I actually very excited about him. I cannot wait to get him. We still don't know detail about it, like how much fragment we can get from the chest, like too much detail are still missing, It's probably going to take some time to get this champion. Hopefully we can get him before the Carnage, guys. I mean, shorter than the Carnage, because try to get a Carnage on the Cursed was extremely long farming and process. And thank you so much for the watching, and see you guys on the next time. Bye bye.